Audio Diary, Week 1, Unit 5. So, we began the lesson by looking at Foley sounds. Foley sounds are used in all films and created in warehouses using bits of scrap and other objects. This scrap could be parts of cars, wood, logs, anything really could be used to create sound Foley. So, we decided that we had to do this ourselves. So we were given the task of fitting sound into a 30-second clip from The Matrix. We had to use paper, pencils, wires, our footsteps and chairs to create the sounds used in the scene. We did this extremely well. I think that our own sounds almost fitted the exact sounds in the film. I think that our editing did this as well. I think it was an extremely good lesson. I enjoyed the Foley a lot, and it gave me a good insight to use it into my production, as this is the way we'd be creating the sounds for the ebook. So it gave me a few ideas of how to create some of the sounds, as with multiple objects you can create multiple sounds. And in our ebook we would need to have flapping wing sounds and also rocket sounds. Audio Diary, Week 2, Unit 5. So, today we were looking at children's TV shows and why their songs were so catchy when we were younger and why we can remember them now. We were looking into the tunes, the pitch, the volume of all these children's TV shows songs, and we were trying to apply them to our own work later so that we may be able to create a theme tune for our ebook. So we looked into our childhood films, so I picked Pablo the Little Red Fox, Galaxy Rangers and Arthur, looking at the different styles of music they used, as Arthur used his reggae music, done by Bob Marley, or his Bob Marley's brother. Galaxy Rangers is a bit more of a sci-fi tune, and Pablo the Little Red Fox is very instrumental, string instrumental. So we were looking into all of them, and then our task was to try and create one of those children's TV show theme songs. So I chose Pablo the Little Red Fox, as we chose Arthur before, but we found it very difficult as we downloaded GarageBand to do it on there, but there was no reggae section in the instrument section, so that made it difficult and impossible. So this was really difficult to try and recreate the music, as it was difficult to try and get the tune exactly correct, as obviously I'm not a music student, and therefore music in secondary school didn't teach me very much about music itself. So I found this extremely difficult and I wasn't able to complete the task, but it gave me insight into how I would do things next time if I did it, and also insight into how difficult it may be to make a theme song later for the production. Audio Dialogue 3, Week 3, Unit 5. So, we were watching Whiplash, the end scene of Whiplash, and we had to analyse it, how audio and visuals went together and how they represented emotion, the problems that each character was facing and the emotions of each character. We then had to pick our favourite clip from a film. My favourite clip from a film was from the film Losers, starring Chris Evans, where Chris Evans runs through an office building after hacking a console to the theme song Don't Stop Believing by Journey. I related this in another piece of work. Doctor and I have talked about this and analysed this. Then we went on to the scripts. So in order to make our ebook we needed scripts. We needed to make a script and obviously read from it and record the dialogue. So before doing this we looked through a different book or script. So we had Fawlty Towers. Me, Ben, Jack and Jake did the voices to Fawlty Towers for a couple of scenes and recorded them and tried to get it so we could change our voice, pitch and tone to match the character. For example, Ben had to be a woman, so he could change his pitch and tone. Jack had to do a older man's voice, so he had to become more gruff sounding. So we did this. It took us a little while. We had to redo some because of people walking through, but all in all this was a good task. I enjoyed it. I think it really helped towards the production of the ebook. Audio Diary, Week 4, Unit 5. So this week we were looking at, this session we were looking at GarageBand again, taking a deeper look into it as we only had a small part of the lesson last time to do it in Week 2. We were looking at different functions of it, how it can be used to also create sound effects maybe. We were looking through all the instruments, take a deeper, in-depth look at it, as we'll probably be using GarageBand to create the tune later in production. We were looking at what different instruments there were to create different sounds, different tunes. For example, our ebook is quite uplifting and happy, so we'd need to use maybe strings, more than maybe like a dangerous bit of it may have like a guitar solo or something like that, or like drums. But yeah, it's obviously this helps a lot. This would help a lot in the future if we knew what GarageBand was like about and like how every bit of it functioned. So obviously we were looking more in depth. We found out how to. I found out how to save and send it to my email, which was good because later on I would need that. I also looked through it and was adjusting chords and the pitch and the volume inside GarageBand, and it just got a better understanding of how to have multiple music playing at the same time. As obviously to create a tune you need like a bass tone, and then you need harmonies as well within the music. So I think this really helped. I think that it's taught me a knowledge of GarageBand, which is good because I think that's something I can put down as software as well, and like a personal statement CV. So having that knowledge has helped with the production of the ebook. Audio Diary 5, Week 5. So today we came in and we were looking at how to analyse each other's scripts and storyboards in order to combine them later in the lesson. We also created a production meeting so that we could schedule the work we were doing that day. We analysed each other's scripts by looking at the research we had already done. For example, we'd been to the library and we looked at children's books before and how they've been written. So therefore we could analyse each other's English skills. For example, my spelling was out of place in some areas, and my partner Jack helped me discover that and change it so it made sense all the way through. This is important because the children's book had to make sense, as is to teach children vocabulary, because that's what books are used for mainly. We also, in our production schedule, production log, we wrote about how we analysed each other's work. So in order for us to stay on track throughout the sessions, we put in about how each of us would be doing an activity at a time. We found the assessment sheet to give feedback to our peer on Cube. Audio Diary 6, Week 6. Today our aim was to create a well-structured and logical production schedule so that we continue to create for production and animation next week. We were given the whole lesson to do this as the schedule had to make sense to us and would be a key factor in completing the ebook. So the production schedule had different pieces of work that we assigned to each other with times they had to complete it by, so deadlines for each session. Because of the amount of hours we had in the day, which is about 5 hours, we'd have to split that into multiple tasks, obviously cutting out lunch and considering consequences and problems with actually doing the work. Although this lesson in turn ironically put us behind schedule, as the amount of work we had to spread across involved us doing work that day, which we did and had to catch up on next lesson. I created a Photoshop image of Rory the Rover on the PCs in the peers room. Although I found out that Photoshop had messed up and there were problems, so that my Rory the Rover was lost or erased, and therefore later in production we would have to make this again. I think to improve that day we could have worked better and quicker on production schedule, although we're amateurs and this was the first one we've ever created something like that, and therefore I think we can give ourselves some clearance and some room to say that it's okay that we took a longer amount of time to do it, because even our tutors said it would take that amount of time. Another thing our production diary had was it was highlighted so that we had colours of our names, and even though this seemed silly, it was just key to the fact of keeping us organised, as production weeks ahead would be very difficult and we would have to have all of it completed in order to create the ebook. On there was backgrounds, characters, audio, sound effects and animation. Audio Diary 7, Week 7, we began by looking at production schedule and making a production meeting where we were outlining what we were doing today. We weren't in J117, so we could not do animation. Although we were going to ask about going into 117, we don't know if this would be possible, and it wasn't in the end. So therefore, we had to stay in the classroom. In our Unit 6 session, we'd made the audio for the ebook. So it was my task to go through all the audio on an SD card given to us by Brendan, who is a technical manager who kept it for us. The card had all our audio on us, as well as our class and other classes. Therefore, I was scrolling through about 2,000 audio files, looking for the start point of our audio and the end point of our audio, so we didn't miss any of our actual content. This took forever, as it meant listening to every single audio piece, because I didn't know if they were aligned, I didn't know where they were in the mess, so it took me nearly the entire day to do this, but in the end I had found all our audio. I also managed to put them in scene boxes as well, but I didn't have much time to do that, as it took a long time to actually listen to the videos, as I had to open up QuickTime Player, and that meant that I had to go through a process to open them up. That took about it just added about a minute and 30 seconds to it, which meant listening to it was longer and then putting it into the files. So the whole process was quite laborious. But I think it was a good session. I mean, to improve, I wish I'd been in J117 doing animation, because that's what we really need to do. Although this task did need doing, it wasn't the funnest task ever, and it's something that I would make sure we were organised again with where we were putting the audio, because we could have lost it at any time. I know groups have lost their audio because of it being saved in random areas and things being cleared. So yeah, so in all, it was a hard day, but we got the tasks done. This is audio dialogue 8, week 8. Today we were doing production in the animation area, so we were allowed on our Macs. Although we did face many Mac issues, trying to start up as mine kept freezing, which had the actual animation on it. Although we got past this throughout the day, and we've discovered other problems, such as trying to put audio in. Sometimes the audio was too loud, which meant that, like for example, I was also making music for it. Jack's narration and other audio would overthrow that, so we decided to do a lot of the animation first before putting the audio in. We also found problems with animation, such as we couldn't delete the black boxes that appeared after deleting like an area of a animation part. So for example, you'd drag a picture in and you delete it to the time you want it to be deleted to, and a black box would appear, and we didn't know how to erase it. And asking Dave, the other technicians, we don't know how to erase it, so this is a problem. But mainly, I think the audio went well today. I mean, just the audio levels, but we had all the audio for it, and we were trying to lay out the scenes by looking at the audio and the images we had, so all the characters' backgrounds, and we were trying to link them to the audio. So this was interesting, as we had to it was just finally laying out the scenes, so we could just start planning through production, because the deadline was approaching in a couple of weeks, and therefore we had to get it done. And this is why we were in J117 this lesson instead of doing something very, very audio based like recording, because we'd done all of that already.